with the Nicaraguan thing and the Texas thing and bring all these people back into full circle again, but also in the same process healing all those people that have struggled in their endeavors to be that spiritual being.
That's what really it comes down to as well. I've noticed too as kids is when we start putting them down and you can't this and you can't that, you're killing the life out of somebody.
Yeah, I
Later
work
on,
with
they just
kids.
become a very hateful, ugly person
Yeah.
because they're going to say the same things that they were told to some other little kid.
Yeah.
And you're repeating that old cycle over and over
Yep.
again, man. You
Yep.
got to really, you're the spark of life.
Right.
And you see that child like that, that's an example of the spark of life that hasn't been, smushed out yet.
Right.
So why would you go smush it out, man?
Right.
I learned, yeah.
I've been working on the
You
kids
can't.
things for a while now, and April and I have gotten a better understanding. We have 15 grandkids. Okay.
So you're
And-
blessed with more children when you know how to work with them.
Yes.
I've seen this in life.
Yes.
When you're good with kids, you'll have kids all around you for some reason.
Yep.
Oh, they flock to him.
That's what I mean.
Kids and
Me?
dogs, man.
That's what I mean.
Kids, like-
I'm
like-
goofy with kids too. I
Me
have a
too.
good
The
time.
grandkids, Grandpa would leave, and they'd be like, "All right, G-Star, can we have some candy?" Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
see?
I've
do
had
this.
people- I've
Yeah.
I've
They're
had
under
people's
some.
kids
Yeah.
that are real reclusive. They're real shut down kids.
Yeah.
And I'll walk into their field of energy, or they'll move into my field
Right
of
now.
energy, and all of a sudden they'll sit up and they'll look around, they'll look at me, and I'll be like, "Hey, how you doing?" And they'll just want to come right to me.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This just happened a few days ago with one of my customers. They have a granddaughter, and she's real shy. She doesn't go to anybody. Well, when I showed up, all of a sudden she perks up and she looks at me, and then we went to walk across the yard, and I reached and I said, "Here, hold my finger," and she reached up and held my finger, and the grandma looks at me and she goes, "That's weird." She goes, "She don't do that for anybody."
I've had so
I said,
many
"I'm
of
not
those.
just anybody,"
I've had so many of those
Yeah.
from kids. Yeah.
and it's
They
happened
feel
throughout.
your energy. They see you.
They see you.
for who you are.
They see who
They
you are.
see you.
I
Yeah.
went to a daycare one morning to drop off my granddaughter,
And that
um,
little boy that went in the bathroom
the
in his pants.
the little
What was
no,
it?
there was a little girl there. She was a little blonde-headed girl, and she was a mean little girl. She didn't like nobody. She always fought for the toys and was selfish and mean to all the people. And she never went to anybody. Well, when I walked in the door, she did the same thing. Her head perked up like that right there. She looked at me, and I looked at her, and I said hi, like that right there. And she got up. She came around. She opened the gate and came out to me. And the teacher said, she must know you because she don't go to anybody. I said, "No, I've never met the little girl before." She goes, "Well, what are you doing to her?" I said, "Well, my auric field shows her that I'm the person that she wants to be close to because I'm going to teach her things that so she won't forget." And
Let me get this go change. I need to
Kids have that. Kids, I think, can still see that
they
aura.
can up until
Oh,
7
till
years
like
old.
they're like 7 or 8, and then
Right.
that's when the program.
That's when I
kicks in.
noticed.
So
I've seen-
I went and studied that too. I wanted to know why kids can see certain things up until a certain age. My granddaughter, up until 7 years old, she could see the archangel that was with her. Okay, and it was talking to her. She was conversating with it. But then at 7, I went to see her, and she was in her room crying. And I'm like, "What's wrong?" She said, "I can't hear my angel anymore." She goes, "It left me." I said, "No, sweetheart, it didn't leave you." I said, "What happened is there's a switch inside of you, and you went from your subconscious programming to your conscious programming." And I said, "So it shut down your ability." I said, "You still have the ability, but now you have to learn how to turn it back on." And so I sat down and I talked to her for a couple of hours. And by the time I was done, I left, and I came back a few days later, and I said, "So how's it going?" And she said, "You were right, Grandpa." She said, "My archangel didn't leave. I just didn't remember how to hear it."
How to hear it.
And now I do, because I sat down and explained it to her, and she got it. So and now she's doing good.
That's
you
like
know?
I was saying the other day about people being reincarnated. For a while, they'll have that remembrance of who they were, but you can see that fade away as they start gaining their own conscious or ego, or
Yeah.
however you want to put that,
Yeah.
their own reality of the world, and they start leaving that part behind, which is supposed to happen unless you kind of hang on to it. It's like when you're saying that with kids, that's something I noticed too. Children at a certain age, they lose their
It's 7.
intuitional abilities because either A, they've been conditioned by their parents, they've been told these certain things,
Right.
you can't this, there's no such thing as what you're speaking to.
the body is born into this realm of existence through the parents. So they're already programmed with half of one parent, half of the other. So they come in as their parents' child, okay, which their parents were programmed by their parents, and so on and so forth, okay. And when they come in for the first 7 years, they're
It's almost a conditioning.
it is.
That's where that generations
it was
after
part of the
generations.
genetic code that at a certain age they would the subconscious programming would be shut off and the conscious programming would be turned on. Now everything that their parents had taught them from the conception, half a dad, half a mom, what they were programmed with is in that child. So at that point there, if they didn't sit them down at infancy, toddler, okay, youth, all right, young child, and explain the truth of things to them at 7 years old, there's a switch inside of them, and when that conscious switch comes on, they're gonna follow the preemptive programming that had already been programmed inside of them, if they weren't taught the correct manner of how the spiritual realm of reality works around them. And then they're going to go into that. Then they're going to go into, oh, we want to watch YouTube and we want to do this and we want to be like this person. We want to be like that person. No, you're an individual. So be that individual life force that you are, and change the world on the planet.
I think they lose some of that individuality. I guess is what you're referring to there when you're saying they want to watch YouTube and be like this person.
Yeah.
I think some of that comes from the parents not actually.
Right, being parents.
You can open up the door and let the let the child choose what they want to do, but you don't want to let a child
TV
choose.
was the new babysitter anyways.
It became the new babysitter.
And that's what happened to family. That's what the family dynamics.
Yes.
Family dynamics. They said, the Native Americans said this right here, okay? It takes a tribe to raise a child.
I know.
Okay? So that means one child per one person. And even in the prophecies it says the same thing. It takes one child per one person.
But that means on so much of a deeper level too. It says a whole tribe to raise a child, because that whole tribe is going to have a next generation that they're bringing into. This child is now growing through this life with you.
Right.
You don't want them to be less than what they should be, especially in your tribe.
Right.
It's kind of like you're going to raise them up to understand the fundamentals of being in the tribe, or you're going to teach them to be a bushman out in the woods. How you want to raise them is the next point, like you said.
Yeah.
But I noticed that too, even with children, that we start, if you leave them have the open door, like with myself, I noticed where I was picking up on a lot of the intuitional stuff as a kid, but I didn't put it down.
Right.
Partly because my grandmother was, you could say, a white witch in her own essence as well.
Right.
She knew how to use the Ouija boards, tarot cards. She's the one who started me on my path with that, because I was asking her, I don't know, I was 8, 9 years old.
Yeah, what's going on here?
I was hearing my dog that we had to put down. I wasn't hearing, I was seeing him run around places. I was like, hey, and I was telling her I was hearing voices and stuff. I was hearing things talking to me that I couldn't, what is that? So, but that's something that kept me to where I still have mine today, is because I didn't ever put it down, and I had somebody to kind of nurture it a little bit, give me some key points to look at.
Yeah.
After that, that's what I was all about.
Yeah.
Boom, that's what I like to do. Look at this. And I started realizing that's like what Jesus was doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what also intrigued me into it. So I found my own love for it. But it was like remembering to do it. It's like, you could do this before, just remember how to do it again now. And I'm like, oh wow, okay, let's do this. As a kid, you're kind of, what's this speaking to me? What am I hearing here? It's an adult voice, and I'm a child.
Yeah.
He wasn't telling me something to do somebody harm. Wasn't telling me to go hurt nobody. Was only telling me to go seek and find.
Right.
So, just like you said, when you were told the same thing, to seek and find
at
too.
13.
At 13 years old.
Yeah.
I think we all, like mine was at like 8 years old, when I really had some experiences that really kind of.
You know what? My 8-year-old experience was profound. Okay, I had just suffered a bad injury. Okay, my dad slammed my groin in the tailgate of a truck.
Oh, fun.
Okay, and my groin fell out. All right, and I was in extreme pain. Well, a couple days after that, I went and I astro projected. And I went to the outside of the ether, and I'm looking back at the planet. And the planet was huge, dude.
Yeah.
And I was told something about being an astronaut.
Yeah.
Okay. but not the type of astronaut that we were told was. We're talking about a real astronaut, okay, being able to do these things without having a spaceship, because we are in our spaceship.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was my profound 8-year-old, piece of awakening, I call it. But there wasn't just one. It was like every 4 or 5 years there would be a little bit slammed into me, and it would be like, what's going on here, and it kept happening and happening and happening. And when I was able to, at 13, when I was told to seek God in the kingdom of heaven first, seek me, and when I asked that one profound question, it wasn't, hey, where's God in the kingdom of heaven? It was, if Jesus was the Son of God, why didn't you tell us his whole story? Because I wanted to know what that man actually did, okay? From the time he was born till the time they killed him, all right? And we didn't get that whole story. I wanted to know what journey he went on, what he did as a child, what kind of accomplishments as a child, being the only Son of God, did, okay? And when I started to discover all that, I started to be able to look back in my life and go, oh my gosh, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did the same thing.
I did the same thing, didn't realize it. I think some of that comes back to what we've also said about being star seeds and reincarnated
Absolutely.
here, or here to change everything.
100%.
We already know what we're looking.
Yeah.
We know it's like it's resonating inside of you. It's like you hear that. It's like, why do I need to know that?
Mm-hmm.
Once you start taking that path, then it's like remembering, like we said earlier. Man,
Yeah.
it's like something you remember. Like, man, I've done this before.
Yeah.
This sure does feel the same, a little bit different body or something, but I sure feel like I've done this before.
Yeah.
So that was something that really started standing out to me, and talking about how even all our awakening process went from being children to.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff coincides to even what we're doing now.
Absolutely.
Like you said, man.
Absolutely.
Each thing from there to now has the pieces that you went and seek.
Clarified, strengthened, taught us how to persevere and endure.
Yeah.
Put us in a place where everything was exactly what it was supposed to be. There was a lot that went on with that.
Taught us little different things in between that, not just the spiritual side of it as well, but
yeah, no, it taught the physical, the spiritual, the mental, and that it was all important to get to this point here and now, and that was part of the question that was in the process of that too, because I recognized that from the day I was born, every moment was important for me to be here and now, and how we got here in all of this. So
right.
So I knew, and then I started to discover that Yeshua, he wasn't the only one that went through that. There were many others that followed that same Christ-like being path, okay, that went through the same type of stuff. And if we all look back on our lives, we see we're at certain moments we're going through these types of situations to bring us closer to the truth of things, and we follow that. And I guess that's the seeking part. Well, that is the seeking part. But we didn't realize it until we got there and turned around and looked back and said, oh, hey. And you're looking through the woods going, wow, that's a path right there.
I just charged that path right through them woods.
Yeah, right through them woods, right through that wilderness.
You didn't see the forest for the trees when you started.
Yeah.
Then you got lost in the woods to find yourself.
Yeah.
Then you done realized, damn, I left the path. I cut a path through that.
Yeah. Through the forest. That's
what I've been realizing too here lately. It's been a remembrance thing on it. And I know there's a reason why, because it's telling us where we have come from. And like you said, you've been wanting to put together even a larger healing center yourself. So you're seeing what you want to do in this future part. You're trying to get there. You're working through all this forest to clear it out to get the land. You could say in your mind or your spiritual. In your spiritual
it's just like
plane.
You and I walking out there yesterday, and we heard that sound. I thought it was hogs.
Oh, I did too.
And it was actually a bubbling.
It could be a spring.
A spring. Okay, so if we clear that out, we're going to see what the bubbling's going on. That's what we're doing right now. We're clearing it out to find out where the bubbling waters of life are coming up.
There it is. I was about to say the same thing.
The waters of life are about to come up out of the ground.
We got some bubbling happening out here. That's what a lot of like you said earlier too, a lot of the things I began to realize it was more about bubbling up like a spring.
Yeah.
And some things, even with myself, I've noticed. Oh, that's a big old scary guy.
That's that guy.
That's a big old scary guy.
He must live around here.
But even we went through a lot of stages of that spiritual growth too.
Yeah.
And I remember everybody being online there some years back, and we were all having the most profound sync. And then it was like we was almost attacking each other for a while.
Yeah. I seen
You
that,
have-
and I always, the first time I was really
Oh, is that what it is?
really attacked, and it's not that there wasn't little ones along the way, because it seemed like there was always an attack from a different angle, and that's what when you see, I only knew Father God in the beginning of all of this, but now I know the Great Spirit. Now I know Prime Creator itself. All right, and I
Yeah.
can see the face of Prime Creator.
My,
All right, and when this first started happening, the only thing that I could think of was, hey, people need to wake up. The alarm clock's been going off for a long time, and so I saw it, and I was attacked by hundreds of people in a very short amount of time through social media, because I asked the question, "Are you ready to wake up?" And people were like, "Wake up! What do you mean? We're gonna wake up!" Blah blah blah. And I'm like, and they started to hammer me, and they started calling me names, and all I could do was return their negativity with complete and total positivity of truth, and that's all I was doing. And I still do the same thing today, just in a different manner. It's almost like yesterday when that little situation we had down there at the road happened, and I was just wanting to be, understood that what was perceived was not the truth of perception.
right.
Right.
Her perception, she was wondering why we was standing there or over on that
Right.
land of property when we just walked out the woods. We
Yeah,
don't
just
know.
walked out the woods.
We was in the woods, ma'am. Sorry. We just came out the woods.
We just came out of the woods. We just came out of the
That's
wilderness.
probably what tripped her out too. Who are these two freaks coming out the
Yeah,
woods?
coming out of the woods.
They coming out the woodwork out here now, Jerry.
Come on. So
Oh man.
and we followed this, so hopefully things will, and I say hopefully, and I don't even know why I say that anymore, because I know that things are going to work out exactly the way they're supposed to, especially if
I've had to accept that too.
if we endure through the trials, because every day seems to have trials in it, and if we endure through the trials, and we walk through those, it's like walking through the fire, and we just keep on doing what we're doing, it's all gonna just rise into place, and it's gonna be beautiful.
Well, that's a big
So
hamburger. Yeah, that's something I was going to say too. Yeah, I've noticed I would say my understanding of consciousness has really changed. Yeah.
The dog's digging
They're trying to dig in her trash.
He
Isn't
decided
it?
to sniff through. Thank you.
he's like, did y'all throw my bone in there?
Looking up all the
Oh, you see, you got the bone. You got the bone. You had it quarter of it.